It's that time for a moment of stewardship. Is that a little better? Okay. Moment of stewardship. The last couple of Sundays, we've been talking about the options for that we have going forward, and I'm gonna present options 5 and 6 today, and we shouldn't need to go too crazy today because we're gonna have the retreat next week where we'll review all 6 options again, maybe in a little more detail, have more questions and answers, and then have a vote afterwards, you know, where people feel like we should head into the new year. So for today, for a moment of stewardship, I'll be sharing about options 5 and 6. If you haven't seen it already, I invite you to pick up the Church on the Mall Congressional Option Sheet at the welcome table. You can also access it online via our weekly e-notes. As a general reminder, our congregational retreat will be next Sunday, and the session encourages each of you to make your best effort to be there, as your input and reflections are vital as we journey together to be a sailboat church and discern where God is guiding our church in this new year. For option number 5, we have what we call the traditional merger, where 2 or more congregations join together to become one new congregation. A ministry model must be developed and a venue must be selected. The new leadership of the new congregations will be representative of the predecessor congregations. The energy required is high to very high, financial resources required low, spiritual challenge high to very high. The practical effects. This option is different from option 4, as a traditional merger would be pursued, possibly with the one church where option 4 is a possibility, or with another church in our area, as we could merge with sister denominations that are in full communion with us, such as Reformed, United Church of Christ, and Lutheran churches. This option requires a lot of energy, as we would become a new congregation with the other church, and would require new leadership that is representative of the predecessor congregations. We would also need to establish if we would worship in our space or in their space. If we worship in their space, we would relinquish our property to the presbytery so that it could be used for future ministry. It's also unknown in this option if Pastor Alex would fit into this role, as pastoral leadership would be established by the 2 congregations becoming one. This option requires low financial energy as two churches become one, though the spiritual challenge would be very high, as members may or may not stay with the new worship congregation. Option 6 is a gift/close. In this option, the congregation develops a well-planned and well-organized closing. Members transfer their membership to other congregations. Property is gifted to either a sister congregation or to the presbytery, with any funds setting up a legacy endowment in the church's name to fund designated ministry in perpetuity. The energy required would be low, financial resources required low, spiritual challenge varies. The practical effects of this option means that Church on the Mall would have a well-organized and well-planned closing where we celebrate the ministry we have done since 1966. Any funds that we have would be put into a legacy endowment in the church's name to fund a designated ministry. The property would be given over to the presbytery, who could dream of using the space for a new worship congregation or for a sister church that does not have their own church space. Currently, there's a local PCUSA church that does not have its own church space. So this could be a loving gift of our witness, as that church could utilize our space. Members would be invited to transfer their membership to other congregations. While this requires low energy and low financial resources, the spiritual challenge would vary as we say a loving goodbye to our church, knowing that the church of God will endure forever. Do we have any questions regarding these 2 options? Remember, we will have time next week to go through all 6 options again. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time as we discern together where God is guiding us next.